Something like that.
I enjoyed the storyline. I just didn't enjoy
The game.
the gameplay, which is kind of important to a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole playing
there's
it part.
specific
I
thing
got into
didn't
a big
like about the
discussion
story.
the other night with a friend of mine about gameplay versus story, and it's because he's all about gameplay. His actual, to quote him, he said that gameplay is all that matters. If it has a decent story or a good story, that's just a bonus, icing on the cake. Where I know I feel differently. I want equal on both.
Right. I mean, if the controls are good and the playing is good, but like the story is just like bake this cake immediately.
The problem is that the two don't necessarily have to be diametrically opposed, but they often are when we are so insistent to have games where the entire storyline is told through cutscenes, which are inherently non-interactive media.
Yeah, I'm hoping to start seeing more games where they actually have the story told during the action.
Well, that's like Uncharted. Even though it's a cutscene, it's a playable cutscene. You're controlling the character and whatnot, so you're still doing something. You're moving the storyline along, even though it kind of, pans to a action scene, but yet you're still moving the character. There's a few scenes.
There's also the fairly extensive article I wrote about Minecraft that goes into the fact that you can have gameplay itself tell the story. You don't have to have a narrative that's explicit with the voice acting and someone telling you what to care about. You can put someone in a world with rules where they create their own values or their own world.
And that's kind of like Shadows of the Colossus, where there's like no story. You get a cutscene at the beginning and like a cutscene at the end, and there's no story to speak of. But then you're wondering like, well, what just happened?
Yeah, Shadow of the Colossus and probably Ico, but I haven't actually played it, and Limbo are all good examples of games, along with Braid, I guess, where very little story is specifically told to you, but you end up with a very clear story of like, this game had a good story, this was very interesting, and I had a journey to go through, and it all meant something.
Mm-hmm.
Without, say, Gears of War, without bullshit like Gears of War, where like halfway through the mission you have to start walking super slowly while holding your ear while the game tells you the story, and they completely interrupt all form of gameplay in the meantime.
That's that kind of game.
Not only that, but you can also run into bad guys while this is going on, and they start shooting you, and you can't shoot back.
It all comes across as very lazy game design when the only way that they know how to tell a story is to randomly flip a switch and turn the game into a movie.